Kim Townsel here. My timing for this whole series is premature, but Luann asked and Chad reinforced, so you can blame them. Another mistake that people make when they're trying to make a change in their eating plan, nutritional plan, and their fitness plan is they're doing it as a response to or in preparation for an event, like a wedding, a prom, a vacation, or in response to maybe they saw some pictures or they had a bad health report or something like that. And instead of trying to make lifestyle changes, they're trying to make immediate and drastic changes. And it's nothing new that we've heard before, but we didn't get this way overnight, and we're not going to get that way overnight. So a slow and steady progress is going to be much better than making drastic changes. Sometimes people make a change because it's a cultural thing, like when New Year's comes along, people are conditioned to make changes and whatever. They make New Year's resolutions to give up something or to start doing something. So frequently, diet and exercise is something that people start making changes for then. The gyms are full in January. The problem with this is in January, people make drastic changes in their eating. They cut calories, they change the foods that they eat, they start buying low-fat foods, which frequently have more calories in them because they just add more sugar so that people will keep buying them and eating them. So check those nutritional labels. If it's got the same number of calories and just reduced fat and increased sugar, it's not going to cause a weight loss. It's just going to cause a flavor loss and a difference of the delivery of the calories inside the body. People do a dramatic change in their activity level. They do a lot of cardio because they're thinking, oh, cardio is going to burn that fat off. I've got to get in there and take up running or get on the treadmill or get on the ellipticals or whatever. And this is just me talking, and I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a trainer, I'm not a physician, but people who have not exercised regularly probably don't need to start running on asphalt or treadmills or things like that because their knees and their joints probably can't take it. They're probably just headed for an injury, and then that's going to be a setback and not help them to advance towards their goals, and actually it may make things worse. So taking a slow and steady approach to increasing that exercise is going to be more beneficial in the long run. Then people get in there and start wanting to move a lot of weights, and they just want to do like a whole bunch of reps with a heavier weight, which is really not good on muscles, tendons, and ligaments that are not used to repetitive weight-bearing exercises, and injury occurs. And probably a better framework, instead of saying I'm going on a diet or I'm going to work out 6 days a week until I've lost X number of pounds, what's going to happen when the diet's over, or what's going to happen when you quit working out 6 days a week? Probably could be back the way that we were before. If we go on a restrictive diet, typically what happens is not any fun, it's not a lifestyle change, we feel deprived, we just don't know how to incorporate that into the rest of our lives for as far as a lifestyle change goes. If we do excessive exercise, then we're going to be fatigued, we're a lot more likely to have injuries, we're going to have less time for other things that were big, huge parts of our lives, and just we're probably not going to enjoy the exercise because we think it's too much of a sacrifice. Maybe a better way to frame that is to say I'm making changes to my eating plan or making changes to my nutritional plan. If you're going to add supplements, adding 10 minutes to my workout each week. I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes 3 times a week, giving yourself some measurable and observable goals, and knowing that it's going to be more of a lifestyle change than maybe a temporary thing. But on the flip side of that, it may be beneficial to say I'm going to adopt something for 6 weeks, for 10 weeks, for 12 weeks, because some theories say that it takes 12 weeks for other people to start noticing a change in yourself, and that people say, hey, you've lost some weight, or hey, you're shaping up, or you're really dedicated. That external motivation may be what some people need to keep them going if they don't have a real strong internal motivational desire to make these lifestyle changes. I know this isn't the best shot of this, but I wanted to talk about how I made some small changes over a year's time and never really thought I was deprived. But I love this soup. I could come home and eat this soup every single night. I'm just a huge fan of it. I would buy every can they had every time I went to the grocery store. But I ate this soup with about 10 to 12 crackers every night. And then I started taking the crackers out and putting the cheese in there because the cheese was giving me extra protein and calcium, which I traded the calories for the crackers and put the cheese in instead because it was giving me a better yield for my calories. Then I changed the cheese to a low-fat cheese, which still gave me the same amount of calcium but fewer calories. Then I started adding ground turkey to this Campbell's homestyle soup because I wanted more protein after I went to tactical response in May, and Matt Reynolds informed me that I needed to get more protein up. So I cooked the ground turkey and added to that. And then I started thinking, well, I wonder if I can just make this soup from scratch and make it with ingredients that I know are fresh and get my protein up even more. And that led me to making my own recipes for a variety of types of soups, which are on my playlist. But that's a small change that actually happened from May to October in 2016. Now, my mom gave me one job for Thanksgiving, and that was to make apple kuchen. Am I going to substitute Chobani, Greek non-fat yogurt, for the sour cream? Not a chance. My philosophy is not to be a fanatic. Certain things only come around on a seasonal basis, and they're not going to kill us. I'm not going to completely deprive myself or other people of the good things that life has to bring. Otherwise, I wouldn't look like this. But I do have a balance where I eat healthy most of the time for the most part, and then occasionally splurge on things that are not quite so healthy. In summary, probably the best thing for us to do is to try to find a balance. We want to avoid drastic measures. We want to seek lifestyle changes, and we want to stay in the long game because it's not all about looking good for a summer vacation or looking good for a wedding in May or looking good for a photo shoot and then going back to unhealthy ways, or a body that may or may not make us unhappy, or a body that's just not going to do the things that we want it to do as we get older and still want to remain physically fit and active. Small changes made over a period of time are going to be probably less noticeable as a something that you're giving up, but in the long run, like maybe a year from now, you're going to say, wow, I just gave up a little bit and never felt deprived, or I just added a little bit to my routine and never felt like I was giving a lot up. But you're going to see some major results from it, because if other people can see results after 12 weeks, then what are they going to see after 52 weeks? So you can look at it like, well, where am I going to be this time next year if I keep up with these, keep making these small changes? So take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye.